Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. Thank you guys for tuning in once again. So today let's talk about how religion is a tool used by the patriarchy to oppress women and abuse women. Now, as we all know, for centuries religion has shaped cultures, laws, family structures and gender expectations. On today's video, a lot of women are opening up about some difficult conversations that a lot of people are not ready for.
You're telling me you're not going to allow me to get a divorce when you're cheating on me?
What I'm telling you is that God said your desire shall be contrary to your husband, but he shall rule over you. And I'm telling you, a divorce is contrary to what I want, so it's not happening.
Being cheated on is contrary to what I want. And what does the Bible say about adultery? Do you just pick and choose what you believe in?
It doesn't matter. What you're not grasping is your opinion doesn't matter. I own you. I own you.
You own me. What the fuck?
I'm going to specifically speak to young women now that have not been married and want to get married. Right now, the way we are going in this country, it is a red flag if you are with somebody who's Republican, if you are with someone who is a Christian, and if you are with someone who is a conservative. These young men in the churches are being told that women should be subjugated, that women are subservient to men, that women are supposed to just have babies and be home. They do not see you as human beings. They see you as things to utilize to make them happy. These men haven't even read the Bible, and they like to weaponize the small little scriptures that they know so that they can try to control women. I want you to ask yourself something really important right now, okay? If you're dating someone who's a Republican or a conservative or a Christian, I want you to ask yourself this question. Do they really see me, my identity as a woman, as something to be valued, respected, and equal?
It's no surprise. Like, this behavior is no surprise, because what do we expect from a religion that teaches men that they are superior to women? Women are supposed to be under them, and that the women are supposed to submit to them, the husbands, the men. A religion that teaches women that the man is your head just as Christ is the head of the man. So meaning he's literally the Jesus Christ, the Lord, your Lord and Savior that you see physically, and you're supposed to follow him blindly. This is what fuels this kind of behavior. This is why a man would feel entitled to a woman and feel like he has ownership. He has ownership to a woman, no matter these conditions that he puts her through. He expects her to stay there. You know, I come across a lot of women that defend these religions. To me, a lot of it comes from a place of ignorance. Most women have not come to the realization that there's something wrong with those teachings that they teach them. And, you know, most women have not done their own homework to find out where these laws came from, the roots of all these laws that they give us to follow, these religious laws. Because all of them have their roots in patriarchy. It was written by men. A religion that favors men over women. You have to know there is obviously an imbalance. It shows that there is something wrong with that religion. Religion that teaches you that a man is above you. A religion that makes you feel like you are second, you are nothing compared to a man. Just reinforces low self-esteem, low sense of worth, and this is why most Christian women don't know their worth. Most Christian women do not have good self-esteem. Why? Because your religion teaches you that you are nothing compared to the man, that you're meant to follow a man, you're meant to be under a man, you're supposed to be dominated by a man. They teach them to see their self-worth from the lens of a man. So these religions are actually very harmful to women, I would say. Very, very harmful. And I'm still in the surface of it. We've not even gone deep. I'm sure people that have been affected and abused by religion know what I'm talking about. Religion gets deeper. These teachings get more and more harmful as we get into it.
You know, it's crazy because I've been on this journey of like peace, love, happiness, minding my business, getting my health together, going to therapy and all of that. And genuinely, it's because I went through something really heavy that I only I don't really talk about it, but like I halfway talk about it, but I don't tell like the real stuff that happened. And there's this part of me that like wants to use my anger to cover up my sadness. Like even right now I'm fighting back tears. But like I just ran past this guy at the store that was passing out flyers to the convention that my old church, when I was still a Christian, that my old church was passing, they're passing out flyers for a convention they have every year. And I just blew up on him. I was like, you know what? You can tell the pastor of that church to go fuck himself. And he was like, whoa, what? And I'm like, yeah, God bless that. Like, he was like, whoa, what did he do to you? I said, you really want to know? I said, he sexually assaulted me. That's what he did. That's what he did. And he's like, oh, miss, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. No, you're not sorry. You're not sorry because you're going to continue to go to that church. You're going to continue to praise the Lord under him. You're going to continue to let an abuser lead you. And I'm not the only girl that it happened to. And what's crazy is that I was supposed to be meeting with him to talk about my marriage at the time that it went down and that it happened. He was supposed to be a father to me. He was supposed to be all these things, like this person that I built up in my head. And then he turned around and he did the things to me that he did. And so I'm left here to pick up the pieces. I'm left here to try to fix my life and to fix my feelings and to not be angry. But fuck it, I'm angry. And I get on here and I make jokes with everybody and I tell you guys to make sure you're taking care of yourself. And that's because I have had to be there for me. And this is what it looks like when you don't handle your shit. So I guess I'm going to be on a new journey of doing that and of addressing that directly instead of flirting with it, because I am sick of feeling like this. Like, this is not cute. This is so not cute. So I am posting this because I need for my followers to know who I really am. I need you to know how I even got to this place of being so, oh my God, look at life is so amazing. It's because I'm trying so hard to run away from my past, bro.
You see, one thing I've noticed in religion, Christianity, as the case study here, they constantly create a need for them in your life. You're never ever going to be enough in that religion. That's how they keep you to keep coming back to them. No, you're never going to be complete in that religion, because how else would they control you? If they tell you that you're enough, how then would they keep on drawing you in? So I've come to realize that they always keep that neediness of them in you, so you keep on coming back. And who suffers from all this the most? Of course, the women. This is like how every religious leader operates. I happen to watch a lot of crime documentaries, and it always follows a single pathway. You're always going to be needing them to feel you, to talk to you, to pray for you. There's always something you're going to be needing. You're never ever going to be complete. And that's how they're going to take advantage of you as a woman, because you keep going back to them to fill your cup up, to fill that emptiness in you. So many of them sexually abuse women. So many of them, in the name of prayers and deliverance, they take advantage of so many women and sexually abuse them and, do lots of things to them. So like, I don't still comprehend why so many women have still not come to their senses and come to the realization that these people do not mean well for you as a woman. These systems were never created to make you have a good life. They are only created to subjugate you and make you susceptible to victimization.
When I was 12 years old, my family had just moved to Utah to live with my stepdad, who my mom had just barely met. I grew up in an extremely religious household. The way that my stepdad practiced the same religion that I grew up in was quite different. He was extremely orthodox in the LDS religion. He had all the power in the house, and a part of that was he was seen as my connection to God. You can imagine this caused a lot of problems because he was extremely abusive to me. My life revolved around feeling unworthy of God. I felt so unworthy of God's love. I was sexually shamed before I had even kissed a boy. I was told that my sexual thoughts were going to prevent my mom from going to heaven. Being a 12, 13-year-old little girl who was just barely going into puberty and trying to understand her body, this was so confusing. I didn't understand what sex was, let alone why I was being shamed. My stepdad would oftentimes tell me that I was not worthy to receive blessings, and in our household, the father was the one that would give blessings. So this internally made me feel like I was not worthy of God's love. Having that much guilt and shame put on me every single day contributed to me getting a severe eating disorder. My stepdad was extremely upset by my eating disorder, not because of my health, but because it took the attention off of him. So therefore, I was punished severely because of my eating disorder. He liked to control what I ate. He liked to shame me for what I was eating and use it as a way to manipulate and control me. I truly felt like I was dirty and gross and that I needed to punish myself. That is what my life revolved around, was punishment. Punishing myself, punishment from my stepdad, punishment from my mom. To this day, I always feel like I'm in trouble. To this day, I still try to punish myself all the time. But I know that I am so connected to God. I know that God would not punish me. And I have taken that power back. I know that I am good. I know that I am worthy. And I will never allow anyone to tell me otherwise again.
Now, that was very emotional to watch, but that goes along with to show us how deep it can get and how bad it can get. Like, imagine getting a disorder, an eating disorder because of the abuse you went through religion. These things literally live with you forever. Like, it affects you long term, especially people that were kids when they got into these religions. It gets a huge grip on you, and it's going to take a lot to take yourself out of that situation and come back to your senses and, rid yourself of all those mess that you've been through. Two major things she pointed out: shame, the use of shame, and guilt. They would guilt trip you or use shame to hold you down, to hold you hostage. Those are the two major tools they use to abuse their victims. Once a person successfully gets you into feeling shameful and ashamed of yourself, automatically they can control you. They have control over you. You would just lose your power. Like, you automatically become powerless and they get all the power and they control you with that. So, are we seeing how harmful these religions can be to women?
Narcissistic or toxic parents tend to use religion as a cover-up to excuse their toxic behaviors and abuse. I'm not bashing anyone's belief system or religion by mentioning this. This is entirely based on behavior. So for a personal example, my father is a diagnosed narcissist. He's Catholic. I was raised Catholic. My mom is Roman Orthodox, both religious people. During childhood, whenever I would put boundaries and stand up to the abuse, gaslighting, manipulation, it was always honor your father and mother. That was essentially an excuse for me to submit to authority. They would attempt to use the Bible whenever it benefited them to control the narrative and to assert dominance. But whenever my father would do something wrong, he cheated on my mom multiple times, he's abusive in all aspects, it was always forgiveness, and you can't judge me, only God can judge me. It was always spinning the words of the Bible to fit his agenda. Actually pushes anyone in that environment, it pushes them away from that religion. Because you tend to associate religion with something negative, because that's the environment you grew up in. Narcissistic people tend to use religion as a mask to avoid accountability. They can attribute everything to religion. I fucked up. Well, in the Bible it says God forgives.
Yeah, like, that's the thing about religion. It can be used to fit any narrative that you want it to fit. They can quote a verse out of context and it will be a perfect fit, like just a random scripture, no reference to context, but once they quote those scriptures, it fits their narratives and their congregations, run with it. And this is why most narcissistic and abusive people love religion a lot, because religion is a major tool that they use to convince themselves that they are doing the right thing. They use religion to confuse and convince their victims, because to them religion is a weapon and they use it to their advantage.
You want to talk back and stand up for yourself? Well, you should honor your father and mother.
When I tell you guys that I endured a lot of religious abuse and religious trauma, I'm not joking. I don't put a lot of these stories on here because my TikTok has always kind of been about like fun and family and all that, but everything with Little Bethlehem is coming out and there are multiple podcasts and TikToks about it, and now I have people within my family reaching out to me asking me to be on their podcast. And I am still healing every day from a lot of the things that I went through. I was taught that God was vengeful. Pretty much anything that I did, something was going to come back on me. My first love, whom I dated for the back half of 15 till the top half of 19, who I left the compound. When I turned 18 and left the compound, I moved in with him, and my dad was very upset. He was killed in a really, really horrific car accident when we were 19. And it was used against me. My father told my cousin that that's what happens when you don't listen to God.
Exactly what I said. For these religious people, it's all about feeling right in every situation. It's all about making a situation fit their narrative. They can coin any situation to fit any narrative that they're trying to push out there. Anything that they don't approve of, they can say it's God punishing you. A random person dies because they told you not to associate with that person. They would coin it to be that God has punished that person. Maybe that person just died a natural death. You have a boyfriend, all of a sudden, maybe he died of natural causes, like she's explaining. It will be God punishing you. Why? For sinning against him. And this has nothing to do with anything spiritual. It was just a natural occurrence. But of course, anything to fit their narrative, so they can keep you in check and keep you in their control.
And I was devastated. He used the worst thing that had ever happened to me against me to try to scare me into coming back into religion. And when your brain has been picked at for so many years and so many different things have been pumped into your head, in that mindset, I'm telling myself, well, I know that's not true. I know that's not true. But there was a little thing in the back of my mind saying, maybe it is true. Maybe he died because I left the church, and maybe it's my fault because I moved in with him out of wedlock. And the more and more this stuff comes up, the more and more I realize that it's here for me to speak out. And if one good thing becomes of this, it would be that I reach people who are going through this kind of stuff and who have been through this kind of stuff, and I want them to know that it's not your fault. It's not your fault what family you were born into and how you were raised, and I feel like I'm being gaslit by people who are telling me that they love me and that they wish they hadn't known it was so bad for me, and no one checked on me.
I was a teenager and I went to my pastor and asked him for guidance because I was struggling with depression and some mental health issues, and he said that he wanted to suck those things. I knew him since I was 13. I was 18 at the time, but I knew his wife and his kid. And of course, when you are put in a situation like that, most of the time we have learned as a coping mechanism to joke about it. We joke about it like, ha ha ha, you are so funny. Like, you're just playing, cause right? Nope.
Now, I personally been someone that in the past had practiced these religions. That there was a time that this was my life. Church, pastors, evangelism, like all of it was literally my lifestyle. I've come to realize that some of the worst types of men are seen in churches. Believe me, some of the worst type of men you're ever going to experience in your life are going to be in church. These religious men, those spiritual pastors. Most of them are in these religions because it favors them. They take advantage of their privileges that these religions give them. These teachings that make them believe that they are the heads of their homes, their women are beneath them, that the women are supposed to submit to them no matter what. It doesn't matter if they are wrong or if they are leading you astray. It teaches them that they are supposed to let them and God sort out whatever they have. Now he's your head, and whatever he says stands. Whatever he does is excusable. You're supposed to be praying for him. You're not supposed to hold him accountable for whatever wrongdoing. So of course, any man that is being taught this kind of thing, his ego is going to be high up there. He's going to have a lot of ego. He's going to be self-centered. He's going to be feeling like he's the Lord and Savior of a woman. He's going to be feeling like God, second Jesus Christ. And of course, they will take advantage of the women. Like, imagine a religion that teaches you that you're the head of the home, you do no wrong in the home. Even the leadership of the organization is always going to have your back. It's always going to take your side. Even if it's too obvious that he's the one wrong, they are still going to find a way to excuse the man and not exactly call him out. They are going to find a way to push it to the woman and make her feel like she's not praying enough. Make her, like, they'll tell her to go pray more. Or they'll tell her that the devil is attacking her. Or they'll tell her the devil is attacking her home. So she should, like, there is no circumstance, like, there's no accountability that's ever going to be taken by the men. There is no time that the man is going to be held accountable for his wrongdoings. So tell me why these kinds of teachings would not breed the worst men in our society. The men that would always feel like they are right. They can never agree that they are wrong, of course. So, like, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that these religions have the worst type of men. Their men act like they are demigods. It's because of the privileges that they enjoy in these religions. These religions help bring out the monsters in them. So their religion supports them. So hell, why would they not take advantage of their privileges and subjugate women the more and feel like demigods? Because of course, the religion teaches them that they are above women, that women are supposed to be subservient, no matter what the man does.
One of the things that I was taught when they were trying to convince me that giving up my job and moving to a whole new state in butt-ass middle of nowhere for my husband was that our income, our risk is already written. So there's no point in being a wife that works. Because if your wealth is going to be the same either way, then if you work, your husband's wealth will decrease. But if you don't work, then it'll increase again. And it'll be the same as if you both were working. So enjoy yourself, stay at home, pull yourself out of employment, and do whatever you want with your life. But with the permission of your husband, of course. Now, I wasn't just hearing these things from one person. No. I was hearing this from a whole community of Muslims. Boomers, millennials, and Gen Z alike. And honestly, what a genius way of controlling women. Seriously, I applaud whoever came up with this shit. Because look how many generations of people are blindly believing in it and living this way.
The many ways that women's labor is exploited within the church, especially if you are the wife of a man in ministry, is just completely unconscionable. And it cannot be overstated. So I was talking to my nail technician today, and she just asked me if I enjoyed cooking, and it created a firestorm in me, and I just began trauma dumping all over her, and it was like this instant anger rose up in me, the resentment of everything that I had to carry as a pastor's wife, as a woman in ministry for pretty much the whole of my life, in the name of service, humble, selfless, sacrificial service. And it was something that I really genuinely believed that I wanted to do, because I wanted to do whatever I could to be helpful and to minister to people in whatever way possible. And when I think of cooking, it's immediately this level of exhaustion that I did not know existed. And I'm like, where does that come from? But I realized that I was cooking 3 meals a day for my family of 7, and I was cooking for church services pretty much every Sunday. I was cooking for special meetings and bridal showers and weddings and funerals and baby showers. I really didn't realize how much labor I was being exploited of. I cleaned the church. I don't even know where to begin, because I was so busy all of the time at the churches doing everything, from cleaning the church, from making the food, from cleaning up the food. And so I just started kind of telling her about what my typical week looked like. And Mondays through Fridays, I cooked, like I said, for my family. And on Wednesdays, I had to cook early because we had church at 7, and I had to get everybody ready to be there by 7, and had to have everything ready for bedtime with young children, so that as soon as we got home, they could go to bed, because their bedtimes were so late on Sunday nights and Wednesday nights. And then usually Friday nights, there would be a youth activity that we would have to have like a snack for. Saturdays were spent cleaning the church and making food for Sunday. I was up late preparing food Saturday night, making sure all the clothes and everything were ready so that we would have a seamless morning Sunday morning, getting up early to get everybody ready, get the food into the car with all of the kids, not forgetting anything, early enough to set up the church services, then to have for a meal and for church, to have the meal, clean up after the meal, have another service, and then stay late to clean up and tear down. Like, we had everything in a trailer that we had to haul to each place, and we had to unload the trailer, set everything up, the sound equipment, the chairs, the pulpit, the microphones, everything. And the tables and the chairs for the eating. Like, it was just a nightmare. Like, she's listening to me, and she kept pausing as she was doing my nails to look at me like, that sounds awful. I'm like, it was. And I don't know how I did it for as many years as I did. I don't have the words to express how angry I am about that. Like, I would have people in the church come up to me and say, I was thinking we should have this special activity every fall, or this is what we should do every month for the teens, or we should have this special meal and do this special activity for the whole church. And they would look at me expectantly, and I would say, yeah, you should do that. And they would look at me like, oh no, I don't have time to do that. And I would say, neither do I. And they would look at me like, you're the pastor's wife. What else do you have to do?
From experience, if there's one thing that the church knows how to do to women, is how to exploit a woman's labor. As a woman in a church, you're going to be expected to sacrifice a lot. They know how to always keep you busy as a Christian woman. You're always going to have a task that you're going to be doing, that you're going to be expected to do, to prove your loyalty to the church, to prove that you're a submissive woman, wife, whatever, to the church. Now, like, from my experience in church, they would make it a point of duty that they keep you busy 24/7. Always something to do, always a meeting, always a program you're organizing for free. Women are often the ones that are most exploited because, of course, as women, we can do a lot. And at the same time, in that religion, of course, you're going to prove yourself as a good woman, as a submissive woman. So to them, it is you proving yourself to be a good wife, to be a good pastor's wife, to be a good sister who is fit to be a good wife if you're not married. And then the ones that are married, You're expected to show that you're a good wife, you're a submissive wife, you're a hardworking wife that can sacrifice. That religion is always going to make you feel like you have to sacrifice your time, your energy, everything about you. And that is how they exploit your labor. That is how they exploit your energy. That is how they take advantage of you. For free, of course. And that's why churches are one of the richest organizations in the world, because they make use of free labor. So it's free labor, and all the donations goes into the church's pocket. So that is not a good place for a woman to be. If you're a woman and you're in these organizations, you're really in harm's way. You're in a harmful place, because all this, from my own experience and from my observation of other people's experiences, all they do is exploit and take advantage of women and abuse women as well. These are patriarchal systems. The earlier we start learning that these things were not created for the benefit of women, the better for us.
You know, I feel so bad for the women in the cult. Like, we are just preyed upon and taken advantage of, and nobody even bats an eye. Nobody even cares. And if you say anything about it, you're being selfish. You don't have a servant's heart.
As a Christian woman, I can tell you that Christian women are very susceptible to abuse. Before I go further, I want you to watch this video.
If you're a woman and you're here and your husband doesn't shower, you wait for him the day he showers. Tell him, my husband, thank you for showering. Tell him, my husband, I like the way you smell. I like the way the Dove soap smells on you after you have... Affirm what is done, because you see, people, whatever is affirmed is repeated. That is how men operate. Next time they will even take it to the next level. If he doesn't like getting a haircut, when he gets the haircut, stroke the beard. Be like, wow, I like it when your face is nice and smooth. If you don't like beards, me, I like them. But there are some women who don't want. They want a clean but then they complain because the man doesn't like to shave. Wait for him when he shaves. Stroke the face. Reinforce whatever is done. Whatever you reinforce will be repeated.
Now, before I address this particular video, I'm going to come back to my initial statement where I said the Christian woman within the confines of marriage is very susceptible to abuse. In fact, she is the perfect candidate to be abused. In fact, if you're an abuser, and you want to find somebody who would willingly take on abuse and wear it like honor, then the kind of woman you should marry would have to be a Christian woman. The reason is because a Christian woman's mindset is a mindset that is built on very harmful doctrines. Number one is the fact that the church somehow teaches women that marriage is not an institution where they need to be happy or they need to be joyful. Marriage is basically an institution that is supposed to make them holy. Okay? So their pains and sufferings and frustration is supposed to build this idea of holiness. So Christian women are made to believe that when they come into the institution of marriage, their life's purpose is basically to redeem themselves and redeem a man who is very terrible, very sinful, and very badly natured. That is somehow the role they take up in the marriage. So Christian women are also made to believe that as they come into the confines of marriage and are going through certain frustrations, perhaps they have a cheating spouse, as they keep on forgiving and keep on forgiving, is building themselves to the point of holiness, right? So they will tell you that if you want to know more about God as a Christian woman, then you need to marry. Because by the time you forgive, you will mature and you'll become like God. So taking you to the point of holiness is like a pruning season for the Christian woman. They'll teach you that you're not expected to be happy. What are you using your happiness for? You don't come to marriage to find pleasure. You don't come to marriage to say, oh, I'm shining your teeth. You are not shining your teeth as a Christian woman, because marriage for you is a battlefield. It's a war zone, right? So you're expected to come to this point and be a covering to your husband, even though the husband is your head. Okay? So as you come with all of these burdens, it is supposed to take you to the point of maturity, right? And then you get to the point where you just be this woman that prays and seeks and finds solace in the church. That is the ultimate package of a Christian woman. So here is the plan for the Christian woman. Let us say you are in a car and your husband is driving into the ditch. You cannot question the driver. You cannot take over the wheel. You have to be praying silently to your God. That God somehow tells him to change the gears. If God doesn't tell him to change the gears, everybody goes inside the ditch. That is the perfect understanding of a Christian woman. So when you mix all of this together, what do you get? You get the perfect, sweetest candidate, fit, best for abuse.
All I can see from all these things is, as a Christian woman, you're always going to be pandering to the needs of your husband, of a man, basically. And this is why most Christian women are very male-centered, extremely male-centered. They will take anything and everything from their man. They are always going to be trying to please a man. I've not seen any woman that is as male-centered as a Christian woman, because these are what they teach them in their gatherings. Everything is about favoring a man, it's about looking good in the eyes of your husband, it's about making your husband feel good. Nothing about yourself. Women are always going to be at the back door in this religion. So why? What's the point of following these religions? What's the point, really? It teaches you that you don't matter. You're never going to have a good self-esteem if you follow these religions the way they teach them. I'm sure a lot of us can relate to this topic, and I'd like for you to share your personal experiences in the comment section below. Me personally, I've experienced these things firsthand. I've had encounters with a pastor where I was almost raped by this man of God that saw me as a child growing up. I've had bad experiences with these so-called Christian people, this Christian fold. Christianity was when I was a Christian, I had low self-esteem. I grew up in churches, and it was this religion that fueled low self-esteem in me as a child. And I had to, it took a lot of work and self-awareness to get myself out of that, to build my confidence and get to where I am today. So these things rob women of a lot. A lot. It is a very, very, very abusive and backward way of thinking. Feel free to share your comments below in the comment section. And thank you all for watching. We've come to the end of this video, and I hope it was insightful and educative. Don't forget to like and share to anyone you think might find this video interesting to watch. And I remain your girl Joy. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you definitely in my next video. Stay safe and stay blessed. Have a nice day. Bye.